Hi YouTube, it's Kathy, and this is my weekly entertainment wrap-up from January 22nd through 28th. This week I finished 3 books, I watched 3 TV shows, I watched 1 movie, I listened to 1 podcast, and I finished listening to 1 book. If you saw my TBR video for Diversathon, this list will come as no shock to you, and it will also come as no shock to you that I did not finish all 4 books that I held up in that video. In fact, I only finished the 3rd book late last night. But this week I read Eldeco by C.C. Bell, which is not only an Own Voices comic book for kids about somebody who has a hearing impairment, but it's also autobiographical, which I did not realize when I picked it up. It's a really sweet tale about not wanting to be the one who is different and you can tell they're different, and the struggles that comes with that. This week I also read Hereville, How America Got Her Sword, and this is about an 11-year-old Orthodox Jewish girl who fights trolls, and who would like to one day fight dragons. Something I loved about this comic is she saw a pig for the first time and didn't know what it is, because they don't keep pigs in Hereville. So she thought it was a monster, and that was just a great plotline. This week I also finished The Speed of Dark by Elizabeth Moon, and this follows an autistic character, Lou. This book is sci-fi, but it's very, very light on the sci-fi. It's not a main aspect of it, but it's definitely sci-fi. It's set in the future, and it's been set in a time where people who are to be born with autism can have kind of a treatment ahead of time so that they're not autistic. But our main character was born too early for that to have happened, so he's kind of in this mid-grade range. And he's doing work for a company, basically doing pattern recognition and analysis, and his boss hates his entire group of people because his entire section is full of autistic people. And there's an experimental treatment that his company buys up from a company overseas that is supposed to cure people of their autism, and basically his boss is trying to force everyone to take it. That's about as far as I want to go with that because I don't want to spoil anything, but it definitely brought to mind some current political things that are happening. If you've not read this book, I definitely recommend it. This week in Grey's Anatomy, I actually watched less than an entire season. I watched from Season 8, Episode 9 to Season 9, Episode 1. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, but I'm glad that I'm watching this on Netflix because if I had to wait between the end of Season 8 and the beginning of Season 9, I would have been a very, very sad panda. Canadian Netflix only has till the end of Season 10, but I learned that my library has Season 11 and Season 12 on disc, so I'm going to have to pre-order those when I think I'm going to get to the end of Season 10. This week in How to Get Away with Murder, we also accelerated rapidly. We started on Season 1, Episode 8, and ended up on Season 2, Episode 2. So, you know, he's enjoying it. I'm obviously enjoying it again because there are little bits that I forgot how the puzzle works together, and little bits where I'm like, I wonder if he even suspects this is a thing. And I also watched 1 episode of Deep Space Nine, Season 1, Episode 6, Q-less. I have friends who live 3 time zones away, so we Skype each other and then we sync up our Netflix and watch an episode together and then highly critique it, because this episode was not very good. The movie I watched this week was The Return of the King, so I finished off the Lord of the Rings trilogy with a friend of mine. And the podcast I listened to this week was Criminal. If you haven't heard of this one, it's all about different true crimes and just talking about those stories, and I really enjoy it. And the book that I listened to this week was Replica by Lauren Oliver. And I didn't realize when I started it that it's the first in what I assume will be a trilogy, because apparently this author writes trilogies from the little bit that I've looked up, and also the second book is coming out in October, so now I have to wait all the way until then. But basically this book follows 2 different perspectives of the same instance. And you start off with Lyra, who is somebody who is living in a compound and is a replica, or as we might call her, a clone. Once you get about halfway through the book, it goes back and starts with the perspective of a girl named Gemma. Honestly, saying anything more than that, it's incredibly spoilery, so I'm just not going to, but I definitely recommend this one. It was also good as an audiobook. There were 2 different voice actors for the 2 different perspectives, which I thought was good, and even when they went over the same kind of bits of text, because there were points where the text kind of converged and you'd been here before when you're hearing it for the second time, it was good to hear a different rendition from a different character's point of view. And obviously I liked it because I'm waiting for the second one to come out in October. That's it for this week. If you've read, watched, or listened to any of these and you would like to talk about them, let me know down in the comments below. On the way down in the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice for you, and ring that notification bell if you feel so inclined. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you next week. Bye!